Did Kendrick Lamar just beat Drake at his own game and become the new reigning king of streaming?
Dang. You heard that?
For years, Drake has reigned as the undisputed top dog of music streaming. On Spotify alone, he's racked up over 100 billion streams. That's nearly 20 billion more than the next artist on the list, Taylor Swift. But in the aftermath of his scorched earth war with Kendrick Lamar, the calculus seems to have changed. Kendrick's diss track Not Like Us has become an undeniable hit, with a #1 debut atop the Billboard Hot 100 while still spending weeks in the top 10. Here's the real question though, did Kendrick really dethrone Drake as the new king of streaming, or is this all just media hype and smoke and mirrors? So what we're gonna do today is break down the outcome of the Kendrick and Drake beef one more time, but this time we're gonna do it by the actual numbers. How did Drake utilize streaming and social media to win beefs before? Did Kendrick really flip Drake's own tactics against him? And how did both Drake and Kendrick weaponize social media against each other? We're even gonna investigate the allegations about bots being used to inflate streaming numbers. And finally, we're gonna analyze the effect that Kendrick and Drake's beef has had on hip-hop and the music industry as a whole. Do insiders believe that this clash of titans has helped or hurt the rap game?
In hindsight, this is a mistake. In the moment, I'm loving it.
So let's start from the top. How has Drake implemented streaming and social media to bully his ops during past beefs? One of the most iconic moments in Drake's career was his beef with Meek Mill. The drama started in 2015 when Meek sent out tweets alleging that Drake used ghostwriters in order to write his raps. In response, Drake dropped a track called Charged Up where he took shots at Meek.
I stay silent cause we at war and I'm very patient. 6 God is watching, I just hope you're prepared to face him.
When Meek failed to drop a timely response, Drake doubled down and released back-to-back just 4 days later. While Charged Up was pretty subdued when it came to tone and content, back-to-back was the exact opposite. The song trashed Meek Mill, mocking him for opening for his then-girlfriend Nicki Minaj on her tour. Is that a world tour or your girl's tour? And for tweeting at Drake instead of rapping.
Trigger fingers turn to Twitter fingers. Yeah, you getting bodied by a singing.
Just a day later, Meek dropped his own diss track called Wanna Know, but instead of fans focusing on the song's content, it looked more like Drake had bullied Meek into finally releasing music. Fans took to Twitter to create hundreds of memes about Drake absolutely dunking on Meek Mill. By utilizing social media, Back-to-Back completely commanded the narrative around Drake and Meek's beef by painting Meek as jealous and petty. Drake even used Back-to-Back to preview his coming moves, rapping, "I got the fest in 5 days," obviously referring to his annual music festival in Toronto, OVO Fest. When Drake performed back-to-back at OVO Fest 5 days after dropping it, footage went viral of Drake rapping while playing those very same fan-made memes on the screen behind him. Plus, the release of Back-to-Back was enhanced by plenty of Easter eggs for die-hard fans. The song's cover art was an image of the crowd at Game 6 for the 1993 World Series when Toronto Blue Jays player Joe Carter hit a series-winning home run against the Philadelphia Phillies. Toronto is of course Drake's hometown, and Philadelphia is where Meek is from. The song dropped on July 29th of 2015, the same day that the Blue Jays played Philly again, and Toronto beat Philly in that game as well. Back-to-Back was a major commercial success. The song peaked at number 21 on the Billboard Hot 100, which was actually really rare for diss tracks. Legendary diss songs like Tupac's Hit 'Em Up or Ice Cube's No Vaseline were culturally notorious, but they never charted as commercially successful singles. By going viral in the social media era, Back-to-Back was a whole different beast. Back-to-Back was even Grammy nominated for the best rap performance. The amount of success and calculation behind Back-to-Back, from its Grammy nom to its chart performance to the Easter eggs and how viral the song became, it gave Drake a reputation as a savvy hitmaker who could win a beef by dropping a blockbuster, culturally ubiquitous diss track. It also showed fans that Drake was an absolute master when it came to maximizing the streaming era's nuances for a blowout win. But when it came time for Kendrick Lamar to square up against Drake, he used those exact same tactics against him.
But when you just look at how this all unfolded, I mean, it just looked like Drake stepped into a battle he was not ready for.
The first big chess move Kendrick made was dissing Drake on an unmistakable hit record. Future and Metro Boomin's Like That wasn't even intended to be an official single, but Kendrick's surprise feature not only kicked the beef with Drake into high gear, but also turned the song into a smash hit. It debuted at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, racking up 60 million streams in just a week. Right away, Kendrick outdid the chart success of Back-to-Back with a single move. Kendrick continued to use Drake's playbook against him throughout the beef. Back to Back earned praise by being a Grammy-nominated diss record that you could play in the club. Kendrick took that same strategy to the extreme when he dropped Not Like Us. From the moment Not Like Us dropped, it became a record-shattering phenomenon. It was crowned as the fastest rap song in history to reach 100 million streams and received 13 million streams alone in the first 24 hours after it dropped. Since the song dropped on a Saturday, it didn't have the usual 7-day tracking week that most songs typically benefit from. But it did not matter because Not Like Us became the first rap song to go #1 with just 5 days of sales. Plus, with Like That and Not Like Us, Kendrick is the only rapper in 2024 to have 2 songs go #1 on the Billboard charts. Most recently, Kendrick shattered the record for the fastest rap song to reach 500 million streams. And the previous record holder was Drake himself for God's Plan. Not Like Us also became a cultural phenomenon. Taraji P. Henson rapped a spoof of Not Like Us at the 2024 BET Awards.
Hey, it's about us. It's about us. It's about us.
Serena Williams, who got a shout out in the actual song, crip walked to Not Like Us while hosting the ESPYs. The song has also been played at NBA games, MLB games, WNBA games, NFL games, everything, you name it. In my gym, every time I work out. In every way possible, Kendrick managed to turn a diss track into a cultural and commercial juggernaut. But the war between Kendrick and Drake came down to a lot more than just music. Both artists used media against each other in completely different ways.
These niggas is not playing with each other.
Bro, they not playing at all. Like, what we gonna do, bro? Kendrick just dropped.
This is crazy.
Throughout the beef, Drake utilized streamers, media personalities, and social media to antagonize his enemies and premiere new content. Push-Ups, Drake's response to Like That, notably leaked as a demo, which led Drake to give DJ Academics the green light to debut the song on his live stream. The song didn't even receive an official release until a week later. Drake also leveraged his relationships with popular streamers and podcasters like Kai Cenat and Joe Budden. Drake gave Kai Cenat a heads up before he released his diss Family Matters, telling him to stay on stream so he could give his reaction as the song dropped. Joe Budden claims that Drake texted him frequently at the height of the battle, and other podcast hosts like Rory and Maul have alluded to hearing records like Push-Ups early. Drake was also a constant social media presence throughout the beef. He trolled not only Kendrick but his other adversaries, from Rick Ross to Metro Boomin, with an onslaught of posts and troll behavior. He hired a drumline to perform outside of Atlanta's legendary strip club Magic City in a clear reference to his Metro diss where he told them to shut up and make some drums. Drake even posted up pictures of Kendrick's manager, Anthony Saleh, with captions trying to poke Kendrick into responding. On the other hand, Kendrick operated entirely in stealth mode. He gave zero clues as to his plans and movements and didn't supply any additional commentary. Throughout the beef, Kendrick's only interactions on social media was just him posting links to his new music. While Drake's approach relied on appearing ever-present and hyper-aware to his fans, Kendrick's tactics were about letting the music speak over social media posts or industry relationships. Kendrick, however, did nurture his connection to the reaction community in a really interesting way. Kendrick and his label, PG Lang, waived copyright on his diss tracks as they dropped, which allowed different streamers to monetize the content as they reacted to the lyrics in real time. Not only did it lead to a ton of viral moments for well-known personalities like Kai Cenat or RDC World, but it also meant that a lot of reactors actually got paid for their videos. Multiple reactors even thanked Kendrick publicly for contributing to them getting life-changing money for their videos. There really couldn't have been a starker divide between how Kendrick and Drake handled the media ground game here. But as the dust settled, a troubling new allegation surfaced about the use of bots to gain artificial streams.
Let's say this is true. Can you replicate or duplicate the impact of Not Like Us for the culture?
In the last couple years, so-called bots have proliferated in a way for artists to juice their streaming numbers. They're actually software programs that loop songs, making artists seem more popular and successful than they really are. Of course, botting would also be similar to committing fraud. An anonymous guest who goes by the name Epic appeared on DJ Academic's show where he claimed that Kendrick's team directly paid him to boost streams of Kendrick's music.
So, okay, a label or an artist hits me up. They say, hey, we're doing a release this day. We want this many plays. and we wanted it to happen this fast.
Epic alluded to fearing for his safety, claiming that he was crashing out, and named Anthony Saleh, Kendrick's manager, the very same man who Drake mocked on Instagram, as the name on the account that allegedly paid for the streams. Ack then went on to claim that someone in Kendrick's own camp connected him with Epic, but he was unable to provide substantial proof of that claim. Joe Budden even chimed in, claiming that he wouldn't be surprised if bots were used. However, just days later, Academics admitted that he spoke to an unnamed source at Spotify who outright denied the botting allegations and said Kendrick's streams were real. While Ack still claimed that a service like Spotify would never outright admit to being botted, fans claim that Academics' credibility was shot because of his well-documented close relationship to Drake. Despite Academics' claims, the huge success of Kendrick's Drake disses, including Not Like Us, definitely throws cold water on the idea that these streams were all paid for. But when you break down the numbers, who really won the streaming war?
So the ability to drop that track, have it listened to, and have the world kind of respond is something that has not necessarily been the case in hip-hop history.
Before the beef really popped off, Kendrick's monthly Spotify listeners averaged around 52 million. Drake, on the other hand, was averaging about 85 million a month. Drake's latest album, 2013's For All the Dogs, was sitting at number 17 on the Billboard charts as of last February. Meanwhile, Kendrick had 3 different albums from years ago that were still mainstays on the Billboard charts. Damn from 2017, Mr. Morale from 2022, and Good Kid, Mad City from way back in 2012 were still in rotation. But by the time the smoke settled, things had changed drastically. All of Kendrick's albums shot up on the Billboard charts, with Damn clocking at 18, Good Kid, Mad City climbing to 23, Mr. Morale at 55, and Kendrick's To Pimp a Butterfly re-entering the charts at 109. Not only that, but Kendrick's monthly listeners on Spotify jumped by over 20 million. As far as chart placements go, Kendrick landed 2 #1 records with Not Like Us and Like That. Meanwhile, Euphoria peaked at number 3 in the Hot 100, while competing with other Kendrick songs including Not Like Us and Meet the Grams, which peaked at number 12. Drake's Family Matters peaked at number 7 on the Hot 100, while Push-Ups reached number 17. And as far as YouTube plays go, Drake's music video for Family Matters reached 28 million views, while Not Like Us notched 61 million plays on YouTube while being featured in over 1 million TikTok videos. It's a lot of TikToks. When you really break those numbers down, it's clear that Kendrick's feud with Drake significantly boosted his streaming numbers, catapulting him to a much higher monthly listener count on Spotify. And while Drake's streams did slightly decline, he still clearly has many loyal fans and listeners, because he's still sitting pretty at a whopping 80 million monthly listeners. So while Kendrick did win the streaming battle when you compare diss records, Drake is still very much a force to be reckoned with when you look at the bigger picture. And speaking of the bigger picture, what did this battle mean for hip-hop as a whole?
Now, when the dust settles, all we're left with is file and wife beater allegations.
It's unmistakable that the Kendrick and Drake beef did huge numbers for streaming and put a spotlight on hip-hop as a whole. For Kendrick Lamar in particular, the battle with Drake boosted sales of his entire back catalog. It also gave him an opportunity to spotlight in the regional rap scene in LA during his historic pop-out concert last month. Overall, it led to an increased attention on a whole range of live streamers, reaction YouTubers, podcast hosts, and other media figures who leveraged their proximity to the beef for extra views and clicks. It also made major money for streaming platforms like Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, and YouTube. But the battle has not been without its controversy. When Vince Staples was asked about his thoughts on the Drake-Kendrick beef, he said that the real winner in all this was Universal Music Group, who distributes both Drake and Kendrick's music. Vince went on to criticize the firing of long-established hip-hop executives in recent months, and even implied the battle was a distraction for how music payouts through streaming has led to a diminished industry. Meanwhile, news publications like The Guardian and Slate criticized the beef for going too far, characterizing the Kendrick-Drake battle as ugly, and even implying that the only people really benefiting are the record label owners. But with the music video for Not Like Us raking in 50 million views in just a week, it's clear that the streaming wars are far from over. And with new music on the horizon, Kendrick and Drake are going to be battling for supremacy for a very, very long time.